Yes.
Okay, so if you want to start just saying your name and where you're from and what club you paddle with and that
Okay.
sort of thing.
Well, I'm Kevin Banks. I'm from Wakefield, Quebec, and I paddle with the Cascades Club in Chelsea, Quebec.
And how long have you been doing dragon boat for?
About 4 years now.
And is this your first time in the national team?
Yes, it is.
Is this your first time trying out for the national team?
It is, yeah.
Are you in the mixed boat as well? Or just
As an
one?
alternate, but
Okay.
yeah,
So sometimes.
sometimes.
What is your training regimen for these past 18 months training for the nationals?
Well, it's varied. Over the last few months, it's been mainly I'll paddle about 9-10K a day, 6 days a week, and lift weights twice a week. And between that and my job and my young family, that's about all I can manage.
Right.
Prior to that, we had, in the winter, I was doing a lot of cross-country skiing, and there's a group of us at our club who decided to try out for the national team, and we bought an erg, a paddle erg, and put it in our friend Brad's heated shed. And so we would go into his shed in the winter time and turn on the heat lamp above the erg and paddle away with our gloves on. And it was, but it was good. It was effective. So between that and weightlifting and cross-country skiing, that was what I did over the winter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what do you do for work?
I teach law at Queen's University.
Oh.
Yeah.
And does your wife or partner paddle or?
She does. She's in a rec crew, so she really only paddles once a week, and she likes it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But she's all right with you.
She's all right with
dedicating
me
so much
doing
of it.
this. Yeah, yeah. This was kind of my I'm turning 50 project, and I'd rather be in good shape at 50, and so she's been very patient with me.
So what is it that you like about dragon boat? Like what motivates you to dedicate so much time?
That's a good question. I like the feel of the boat when it's moving fast, and I like the way that getting a team together that can move at the same rhythm and in sync with each other just lifts the boat up and off you go, and it's a great feeling. I don't think that I think if you don't love that feeling, you're not going to want to make the kind of effort that the guys on this team are making. So it's really kind of, for me, it's kind of primal that it's an enjoyable way to get a lot of exercise. And yeah.
How did you find out about dragon boat?
I registered my kids for the summer camp at the Cascades Club. And to do that, you have to buy membership. And once you buy membership, you start to get emails from the club. And they sent around an email, which I hadn't noticed, but my wife noticed, saying, we're starting a men's crew, no experience necessary, we'll make you great. And excuse me, I thought, I didn't think much of it, but she sort of insisted and said, well, I'm sick and tired of listening to you complaining about your soccer injuries. Maybe you should try this instead in the summer. So I gave it a try, and I liked it. And we have good coaching at the club. There's a good young coach by the name of Amanda Woodley, who's been on the national team before, really knows what she's doing. And, if you want to put the work in, she'll teach you the technique. And so just one thing led to another. And then there was another coach who was there before Amanda by the name of Julie. I'm trying to remember her last name. Julie is a sort of legend at our club. She took the women's crew from nothing to world champions in a few years. And she was sitting with me at a regatta in Montreal and said, you should try it for the national team. I thought, you're a crazy guy. There's no way I could do that. But then I thought, well, I've got 2 years. I'll be 50. It's a good project to have to turn 50 and, give it a try. I've got people around me who can tell me what I need to do to get in shape and work on my technique, and so it's one step at a time, one camp at a time, one fitness test at a time, and it all sort of worked out.
Do you have, since you're a professor, did you have like the last 3 or 4 months off or to train, or?
Well, I don't really have them off, but what I do have is a more flexible schedule than most people have. And this last year I've been on sabbatical, and a lot of people think that means I have the time off, but I don't. I'm actually doing research and doing administration, but it does mean that I can go and train at 2 in the afternoon or 4 in the afternoon, and then pick up my work in the evenings, and so it is helpful that way to schedule things.
What else have I got to ask you? So how do you feel about this past week of training and the races coming up tomorrow in the next few days?
It feels pretty good. I think I trust the coaches. They've done this before, and they're, I think, getting us to do kind of peak exertion work on which is good for us at this stage without tiring us out too much. We can go to that peak level and then come back down, and we're working on the finer points of accelerating, transitioning, turning, starting. So it's good. I think it gives us confidence heading into the races.
I heard you guys had a good practice today.
Yeah, we did. We did a 1:53 in the 500. It's a pretty good time.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like that's a good thing to have such a good time going into it, or will that just make everyone overconfident? Or?
I think we all felt like we could do a little better, actually.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. So we're motivated to try and do better tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Well, we don't do the 500 till Sunday. But
right. Is that like, which race is like the one that you consider the most important, the 500 then, or?
I don't really have a view on that. I think they're all important. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I enjoy the 2K race, which we're doing tomorrow. But they're all good. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you have any like rituals or superstitions you do before a race, or?
Well, I'm following the superstition that seems to be there for this team, that I don't wear my race jersey until, well, we wore it for the opening ceremonies last night, but I haven't worn it in the boat yet. I'll wear it for the first time tomorrow. I don't have a lot of rituals. I brought a little rock with me that I found off of the west coast of Vancouver Island. It's a little polished piece of jade, which is my little worry rock, and it feels nice in my hand. And so that's my ritual. I pick it up and squeeze it every now and then.
Will you bring it with you in the boat?
No.
Go that far?
Yeah, there's no luggage allowed in the boat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pumas? Oh, yes. So the Worlds is a pretty big competition challenge, I would say, probably for yourself and everyone involved. What would you say is another big challenge in your life aside from some like sports or this particular sport?
So I guess there are a couple that I've had. I think the biggest challenge has been for me to try and be a good dad to a young family, which my wife and I started fairly late. I was 39, and so I've got 3 young kids. They're ages 10, and 7. And that sort of makes you dig deep and find the parts of yourself that you need to tap into to be patient and offer guidance, and also just keep your energy up day after day, right? You're in it for the long haul, and you've got to be there every day. And so people say that having kids is something that you're built to do in your 20s, and you start in your 40s, you're going to be a little more tired when they're young. And so I think getting through the young years with my kids was a big challenge. And the other one mention would be finishing my doctorate in law, which took me a long time. I was working full-time while I was doing it, and I'd take time off and go and research and write, and then go back to work and go back to doing my doctorate, and it took me about 8 years overall to get it done. But it was a real sense of accomplishment when I finished that.
Mm-hmm. Gary studied law for a little while.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't finish, but yeah.
But don't finish.
Yeah.
In Argentina.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of, especially at the doctoral level, lots of people don't finish.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you've got to find a subject, I think, that you're interested in, that you're passionate about, and you'll be willing to keep studying to finish. I had a friend of mine who finished before I did, and she said, by the time you finish your dissertation, you will hate it. You will hate everything about it, because you'll be so ready to not be writing it anymore.
Right.
And she was right. I mean, I like it now, but...
Terminé toda la carrera penal y lo otro no me interesaba y lo dejé por cine.
He finished the
Criminology, o sí, no, sistema penal.
the
Derecho penal, no sé
penal
cómo.
rights? I don't know how that would be called. He finished I guess what we would consider an undergrad, I don't know, and then the rest of it he just couldn't do any more research. A film,
Yeah.
¿Cómo están los brazos para mañana?
How are your arms feeling for tomorrow?
Oh, they feel good.
Yeah, just used to.
Yeah, well, the funny thing about dragon boating is that after a while, it's not your arms that hurt so much anymore. It's you feel it in your legs, or you feel it in your core, or in your back.
The full body.
You're using your bigger muscles more. So.
Do you have anything else you want to say or include? Do you plan on carrying on with Dragon Boat? Or?
I do, yeah. I owe a debt of time to my family, so I'll have to back away from it a little bit. But I want to keep this up. It's I feel good from doing this, and it's an important part of my life now. So, yeah.
Great. Cool. Okay, great. That's it then.
Great. Okay.
Yeah. Thanks so much.
Thank you.